All right, guys, let's talk about that grip, okay? How are we going to get that gun to consistently come back down on target exactly where we want it to without flopping and flying all over the place? We've talked a lot about grip. I'm not going to rehash the fundamentals, all right? You guys know the deal. You know the basics. You know what we teach, right? And nothing we're about to say replaces any of that. This is a secret little sauce, something extra on the grip that I think too many times we forget about. I'm talking namely about the pinky pressure and tightening through the wrists, right? How do we test it? And then how do we practice to fold it into our shooting? Because when we look at a gun going off, what's really happening, right? The slide's going to cycle to the rear, causing the gun to flip like this. The problem with us focusing just on how tightly we grip that gun is I can squeeze this gun as tight as I can, and my wrist can still have give. You could test it for yourself. Make a fist as hard as you possibly can. You can still move your wrist. The muscles controlling the contraction of that hand don't necessarily line up with the wrist. Is it tighter when I grip? Yes, but it's not necessarily locked in place. Those are different tendons, different muscles, and there's almost like a mind-muscle connection that happens when we feel what it actually feels like to lock that gun out. And I'm telling you guys, if we focus on our pinky pressure and truly locking through the wrist, you will see that gun act a lot more normal for you when you're shooting. You're going to see your dot or your sights track far more predictably and move off your target so much less. So the first thing we're going to do is test if this is something that probably applies to you. So take your gun. You can do this at the house. Double check you're completely empty. Remove all that ammunition from the room. Then find a ledge. Find a surface like a sturdy table or something that juts out, right? We'll use this guy as an example, although it's not sturdy enough to actually run this test. Set your grip. Set your good, proper grip. Gripper tight, all that good stuff. And then take the front of the gun, put it underneath that ledge, and push up. And what you will typically see when that happens is when you push up, the gun starts to bend. It starts to dip down. Do it on the other side. Put it on top of that ledge and try to push down. And see, even with your tight grip, does that gun move up and down, right? Then take that grip, tighten through the wrist, feel those tendons. And as you're trying to push down, feel what muscles need to fire in order to keep that gun from doing that. Do it on both your support hand and your firing hand, right? Lock them in and then actively fight against that pressure from both directions. This was a tip that I saw a couple years ago from Hunter Constantine, I think it was. And it was something I'd always done, but I never thought about it in the way he said it. And when he put it on that, I said, man, that is something else. So guys, try this out and then take that feeling, practice that a couple times a day. Feel what it feels like, not to just squeeze, but to actually lock that tension through the whole wrist. The cool thing about locking that tension through the wrist is you can't really do it without putting that pinky pressure on. So the one does help the other. If you do that, you are going to be seeing that gun move a heck of a lot less and far more predictably in between your shots. So try it out, guys. Find that ledge, put that downwards pressure, fight it, put that upwards pressure, fight it, take that tension, that feeling, and apply it when you're gripping the gun and you're shooting, and man, oh man, are you going to see some differences in your shots. All right, guys, take this, run with it, stay smart, stay safe, never stop improving. I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you for joining.